It's 4 in the morning. Get past the resort. It's interesting. Sound. 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 It's going to be a good day today. I just got through another. It's amazing how violent white people are. Types of people, body types. Can you spot a liar? There's this guy, he's got his face on a real estate sign. He's not really a guy, but it's actually a girl. Most guys are girls, actually. That's why they call them guys, right? Because they're girls in disguise. Guys are girls in disguise. And but you can see he's a liar just by the way his face is turned. You can tell he's a natural born liar. Anyway, back to my own home. You're right, you could say, it would be a valid criticism of me to say you should focus on yourself. Just don't tell lies yourself. Say, okay, well, I'm going to try not telling lies starting now. My name is Abraham Lincoln, and I'm 200 years old. 300, sorry. Something like that. My beard looks like pubic hair. I told my wife I'm going to cut it off. She said, I'm too ugly underneath. I'm smoking a joint at 4 in the morning. I thought it's time to unwind, because I never get to unwind. I walk around all the time. It's like I get to go for a walk for an hour, fuck around in the park, and then come home. So all you gotta do is walk briskly for about 15 minutes. Build up some body heat. Because you're just doing work, essentially. What a weird town this is. I've encountered so much violence this week, over the last few months. My mom. Never once would you think to say sorry for exposing you to this awful human being. Alcoholics and stuff, they don't really fully think. So my mom, is dealing with someone who can't really think about other people, but in some respects, nor can my mom. And it's like a disease. I said, they kind of, to my mom, I said, they kind of know they're wrong, but they kind of don't know either. They just don't understand. It's a shadowy area. The idea of someone's shadow side should probably be more like where there's a bit of a shadowy area. And we don't all have to pathologize each other, but we will probably, about what we think of as right and wrong, in terms of what we understand about what even might be wrong about what we're doing, and to even be sensible of a certain guilt. Ooh, look, I might have a crab coming. How do people live out there? It feels so cold. I'm feeling my body's cold. I'll have a hot shower when you get home. That's a lot of weed smoke. Oh, I see a female face on here. That's interesting. And these squirrels. Okay. Cool. So I thought I'd come out here and unwind. And it's like I don't have anything to unwind about. A lot of... Oh, my channel was deleted yesterday. I guess that's news. They didn't really even inform me. Just gone. It's like, okay, what's inappropriate content there? And, basically, anything I seem to say about women. And they won't even tell me specifically. It's so threatening. So for men, as my work continues, don't worry about it. For men, I'm learning a lot. I learn from everything that I do and everything the world does back to me. In the last few months, the amount of people who will do wrong to other people and then threaten them on top of that. You ever seen like Dickens characters, maybe is a good example, or just low people in maybe old, outdated movies and stories who take something and behave in an unscrupulous fashion and then threaten the people they're doing this to. I have to say, right? They must really want something from that person. They must be really desperate to get something. And it's like, because remember, like beneath this behavior is survival. Like, people are only criminals for survival, right? But not all criminals are casing your neighborhood or stalking your children. Hoping nobody's stalking your children, right? But the world stalks your children. You should think of the world as the stalker of your children. Not just me, not just all of us, not just the unconscious habits of man, right? We protect our children from each other. We protect ourselves from each other. This goes to the nature of our survival. And that ultimately, if we're all going to explain all of our behavior to each other across time, it's going to be based on survival probably, isn't it? That almost sounds like the beginning of a religion. It's like survivalism. Everything we do is based on survival. Ergo, every man for himself. So when we argue about morality, when we argue for the criminality of others, the wrongness of their behavior, the determination to commit and escalate those wrongs, despite what we could reasonably call a reason or a specter of some prohibition. You might be arrested, you might lose some money, someone could sue you, right? Or just maybe if examined properly, you can't possibly feel good about what you're doing. Which gives us some idea of different ways to approach conflict, right? And how, generally speaking, I guess, with their children and each other, people take the last route of like, hey, do you understand you're doing something wrong? Or I don't prefer this behavior, or that makes me feel uncomfortable when you do that, or that's making this person uncomfortable. And what happens when you're dealing with unscrupulous or violent people is that you take the last route and go, I think you're making me or someone uncomfortable. Excuse me, you really are making other people uncomfortable. Now that doesn't mean, you see, that you're wrong in and of itself. Let's say I'm in a theater and I'm laughing too loud and someone pokes me on the shoulder and say, you're making my family uncomfortable. You're making us a little uncomfortable. And I think, that doesn't feel good. But the fact is, I'm making them uncomfortable. Now, unless they're complete sociopaths and they're performing some social experiment to see if they can get me to stop laughing for the rest of the film, that would be awkward, wouldn't it? Chances are, if I've made them really uncomfortable, they're feeling really uncomfortable right now. So uncomfortable that they're probably just going to be coughing and moving in their seats. Maybe muttering about changing seats or something. And maybe the person beside you should nudge you, the person you came to the movie with, and say, hey, your laugh is creeping people out. Right? Because trust me, there's nothing on this earth that can prevent someone from doing something that you thought was perfectly normal and creeping people out with it. You can imagine someone singing in a choir. That can creep people out. It really depends on you'd be surprised what happens to people's voices. Right? This one woman down the hall that was threatening my mom, whenever she was in the building and other men reported this, the sound of her laughter, the sound of her voice, made them want to turn and walk away. Okay? So that's a very characterized person. That person is in portrayal. So they really want or need to be a certain character in the world. Now, we don't need to attack that person right now. What we can extract from that is the fact that people do go into portrayal. This is an extreme version of it, which means they've had to be someone all their life in order to survive. Think about what you're talking about. You might call this sacred territory. Right? In human survival, is we protect the ability of other people. The way the actors and politicians of the world, who are all actors, protect their various guises. Who knows who I am? Who knows who they are? They've got 1,000 stories and none of them are true, according to one of them. According to one of the royal actors of the world. They have thousands of stories, but none of them are true. Right? About themselves. Now, a story is a story. You can tell stories about the stars, stories about aliens, stories about mythical creatures. And then there's the stories about people you call politicians and actors. And then we think about how humans can go into portrayal. Because for survival reasons, they need to be someone. And then they become capable of being, or at least seeming, deceptive to other people. Which begs the question. Although this question isn't dealt with, it's usually the answer. There's a creature up there. There's a cat. Raccoon. Is there any set of conditions where people wouldn't go into portrayal as I'm describing it? Or could I be, another question, could I be describing something that, put into a more appropriate or different way, is something completely normal to human beings? And that I, and maybe other severely mentally wounded people, simply seize upon it as a reason to think of the whole world as scary. And if you thought the world is scary, that would be sufficient motivation to accept such a theory. And only people who are really scared of the world would accept such a theory. There's an animal over here, I'm just watching. I don't know if it's a deer. I think it's a deer now. Okay, that's two animals I've seen. Okay, I've got to keep walking. It's nice and quiet out here, though. This is a very quiet spot. And to feel safe out here, to know that I've made myself relatively safe. I say this post-analysis and not to encourage myself to be in conflicts with other beings. I want to be as peaceful a being as I can be. At the same time, I know I'm changing subjects, but, do you really want to continue on the other subject? How far do you want to go down the rabbit hole? No, I think, by the way, I'll just leave off and say that when I want to do a post-analysis on things I don't want to promote as a peaceful man, and yet we could hypothesize that someone of true peace could not avoid conflict. And so as a philosophical question, could a man of peace avoid conflict? Could he avoid aggression? So no, I would say, okay. But to go back also to talking about portrayal and acting, I prefer to think of it, I'm saying these things and someone could be listening and feeling, hey, that's interesting, or that's personally disturbing, or, would I use that as a leverage if you're listening to pry into your mind and say that you're just a fake person? And if you put it in different words, are we saying that just everyone has to be fake to live in the world? And we can ask these questions. We can ask them, we can have stirrings, we can have emotional stirrings, right? And it could be an interesting theory, it could be a way to look at things. If you've seen suffering in this world, you may or may not be motivated to consider different ways of leveraging our way into the mind, because understand it's difficult for us who use our mind to do that because we're personally invested, right? You're looking to a human who's building his immune system for life. Imagine what a hull needs to be to go into the Arctic and to go through 1,000 storms, 1,000 years old. And imagine that you live in a world where it doesn't acknowledge that Noah's not the only one who has to build an ark. Right? This idea of building a ship, I believe, has been stolen from ancient mythopoetic human philosophy, because we all have to build the hulls of our ship. You've already got a ship. You've probably been building that hull since you were in your mother's womb. The body is a hull. Right? It is a ship, and you are the captain of it. And that ship is made of your spirit. It's, how captains and buccaneers, whatever, can be fond of their ships. I'm sure they're very fond of their ship. They don't really show that so much in movies, but I bet you the people who have ships are very fond of their ships. I bet you Star Trek, the captains are probably very fond of their ships. Although at one point, early in the series, Captain Kirk talks about his relationship to his ship as though a castrating mother, a merciless mother, right? Interesting, because the ship is like the body you build inside your mother. And so these mythopoetics are finding their way onto television, right? And so let's just go back to the personal, right? We build hulls for ourselves, right? So if we're going to get hulled out by the world, we might as well build a better hull, a better canoe. You could think of any ship, big or small, right? Size doesn't matter. But it could be as big as the earth. We have to take on the different motions of time. Now, if time were just easy, and there are people who can go on with their day and they're going to get up today and think, oh, I get to go to the salon and I'm going to talk to Marjorie and Joan. And what about that beautiful homosexual Niacinthe? Yeah. And we're going to do each other's hair and do others' hair and make the world a better place. One beautiful customer at a time. Da-da-da-da-da. And you're going to have your double espresso, and you're going to have a nice little toot in the bathroom, and you're going to have some inspiring thoughts in your online blog, The Salon Goddess to the Stars, and you look at your new branding that you're developing for your self-named business called Dolores Clitoral Cleaning Service, and everything is going swell. But to the rest of the human race, who are basically normal people, our hull takes a battering from time to time, because in the even flow of time, such as we may imagine it, for some of us romantically, and what is romance but something that helps us connect beauty with medicine, right? In the beauty is the medicine, right? Is the healing. We know that we need things of great beauty to appeal to us and to bring healing to us. Stories that are to be healing should have some beauty to them. And in the wonderful flow of time that we beautify with our minds, which are beautiful because our minds help make your beautiful body. It's invested with your mind, your mental force, and your spirit, right? You can leave it, but it's like a book I write. It's invested with you. And where did you start making that investment? Which, if we want to look at it as an investment in your survival, as a spirit in a ship made of your spirit, inside another big ship, another spirit, another temple of another spirit made of their spirit, which is also fending off the world for its own survival, possibly even from the father, possibly even from the child, in the emotional body that's formed. If there's any potential for life at all, there's an emotional resonance of beauty with the mother's spirit and the child's spirit and the father's spirit, right? And then the father is removed. Okay, now I've seen this process and I've participated in it from every possible vantage point. I want you to understand that. As a rape victim, and as someone who has studied women who rape men and then sever the father and or abort the result. Okay, so that's a sort of Outlander kind of thing. Hey. Good. Do you want a cup of coffee or something? Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll grab you a muffin or something. Or unless you have a personal preference. Oh, sure. Oh, I just I got up early to go for a walk. Couldn't sleep. Yeah, but. Oh, they have a French vanilla. Yeah. Or if you actually just want to grab a couple things for yourself, I can pay for it, or I can go in and get it for you. Either way. Yeah. I'm happy to do it. I don't mind shopping. I might get a coffee for myself. But if you want a sandwich or soup or anything, I'll just get. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll be right back. You like French vanilla? Yeah. Oh, I think Huh? Oh, hey. Good, yeah. Good. So we go out the window here. Hi. I don't need a mask, right? Okay. So is it possible to get a little bit of food and a coffee? Food? Food and coffee? Coffee will You're not like 5:30. Okay, 5:30. Do you have any food available? Yeah, like a sandwich. Yeah, sandwich would be good. Like a pizza sub or something?
Does the French vanilla machine work?
Yeah, actually, but we don't have brewed coffee.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a sandwich is good.
You just grabbing a sandwich.
Maybe. Do you like any of the things in the refrigerator?
Oh no, I was just gonna grab some.
Hey, it looks good. Do you want a drink?
I was just gonna grab like an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. Okay. Ice cream sandwich, please, if possible. Thank you. And that's it. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No worries.
Are you
Yeah.
from Parksville? Or?
Yeah. Yeah. I live in Parks.
Nice.
But I'll go for a little walk and then I'll be hiking most of the day. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, both. Yeah.
Where are you going hiking?
Probably like Rat Cover or something. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Up around there. I like to be outside unless it's, even if it's raining or whatever. That'll be dead it. Yeah.
You probably don't smoke, eh?
Yes. This says please wait. Okay. Process. Thank you so much. Thanks for your help. Oh, do you want to grab it? That's yours. No, it's not. And the sandwich.
Oh, fuck, sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
Have you done the Cameron Lake workout?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, oh no.
Fucking sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's only an hour up and an hour down.
Yeah, I gotta do that. Yeah, I haven't gone out there because I don't drive very much, so
Yeah.
that's what I need to do is find someone with a car and go up there. Thank you. So you've lived around for a while? Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just about seeing you see like the one lake.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
How long have you lived here?
Just about 10 years or so.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Hey. Hey, good. Good to see you.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Yeah. Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
What are you doing at this time in the morning?
I just went for an early walk. I know you're probably surprised to see me. Yeah.
You doing math?
No.
Oh. Freeze your mind, bro.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to work without it, and I'll think about that.
That's probably a good idea.
I do think a lot, like you probably. I like to think. I'm heading towards the. I don't know if you're going this way. I'm heading to the park down there. So. All right.
I might run into you again.
Okay. Cool. Good night. Oh, really? Have you seen UFOs? Nice. I ran into another guy, and maybe I should do this more often. I ran into a homeless man, and he's been here. He said he's lived here all of his life. Actually, it looks like he's only about 18 or 19, and he said I should do math to expand my mind. But it's interesting because I'm seeing him a certain time of day. And let's see if I can do this park in the dark. I don't have a flashlight. Park in the dark, boom, 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 park in the dark, park in the dark. walking the dog, walking the dog. That was an interesting experience. So I knew the other guy, but it's like 4:30 in the morning, right? So he's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I just go for an early walk." I've been wanting to get out and go for an early walk for a long time, and it's the winter, right? And I've already had a good sleep, so it's like, let's go for a walk for an hour, so come home. So I'll go to the park, but let's see. And I'm wearing this hat, which, so in a sense, someone would say, "Man, you should work with the homeless because you fit right in with them." So, hey. So Will, who I normally see during the day, and he sees me as sort of a relatively straight person, I'm guessing, sees me at 4 in the morning with one of his buddies, dressed the way I am, and he sort of was like, "Hey, what are you doing out here?" It's like, "Oh, what? You doing math?" And it's like, "No, no, but it expands your mind." I said, "Oh, I have to try to work without it, but I'll think about it right now." I said, "I like to think." I said, "I know you like to do that too." And he said, "Look up at the sky." He says, "You seen UFOs?" He said, "Yeah, every night." That's cool. That's interesting. A neat early day conversation. And I thought of getting Will something because I know him. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy him something." And I'm kind of, I think I've worn out the gas station attendants' patience. I don't know. I'm sure sitting there all night, basically having all kinds of people come to his window, he gets a little jaded. I would too. And he's a wonderful dark-skinned man, probably Indian in the real sense of being from India. He's a nice man. He's probably going to school. He's got a job at the gas station doing the graveyard shift, right? So it's nice to me that there's just any place you can get any food. He wants a coffee. The guy can't get a coffee. He's wondering if the French vanilla machine is working. I don't think the guy really wants to get him a French vanilla coffee. So I say, I hone in on the sandwiches. So he's happy to grab him a couple sandwiches. So it's like, okay, that's what we do. You know, you gotta work with people. I don't really know anything about the French vanilla machine myself. There could be deer around here. I don't have a light. I do have a lighter. I'm trying to get a torch. I should buy one. Just gotta go slow. So the eyes adjust. I've got to practice this anyway because I'm going to be out in the dark at some point. Made it through there. We made it past the crazy lady's house. Actually, one of the reasons I came in here is I think I need to take a crap at some point. It's really fun to take a review. I don't know what I'm seeing on the ground. It almost looks like snow, but I know it's not. It must be leaves. Let's see, this path I've taken hundreds of times. Like a deer. So you're vulnerable, right? So Will must have been really stoned on that. That's what he's doing. And as long as he can find meth or whatever else, that's what he do. Expand your mind. Enough to walk around in your bare shirt or whatever. Bare shirt in the morning in October. That's expensive. I don't want to judge Will. There is in meth addiction, and I've seen it. As long as you're respectful to them, they're not going to hurt you. He knows me. He's saying, "You want to do some math?" And I said, "No, I'll think about it. Keep it in mind, in my thoughts. I'll think about it while I'm doing my other thinking, because I like to think about it. Probably like you." And he sort of, I could sort of see the answer, yes. In his mind, that was enough to kind of connect to his spirit. Because the spirit is a thinking creature, essentially. The spirit's a mental force. So I basically connected to his mental force. I just felt a little bit bad, that I didn't buy him a sandwich. But because he's known me for a while and I've never bought him anything. So I was like, shit, that might rub the wrong way. But it's like, I bought the guy 2 sandwiches. He could easily share with him. So, if he wants to. And they can work that out between them, depending on their relationship. Okay, hold it. No, hold it. Okay. I just. No, this can't be now wrong. Let me see. This feels wrong. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Oh, got a mud puddle. That was pretty cool. So the smoking that weed was about relaxing. I didn't even know that guy. I didn't even know what he looked like when I walked by and asked him on a sandwich. It was just his energy. It just seemed nice. I said hello, made conversation, did the right thing. I said, "Hey, do you want a coffee or a sandwich, or want me to buy you something?" Oh! And he was like, "Sure, okay." It's not a realm thing, so you could see right away I picked up a meth addict walking back to his place there, so we didn't really have time to chat anymore. Will maybe a dominant energy there. Meth addiction tends to bring out other things in people that they don't notice. So we're talking today about things in people's behavior that they don't realize about their own behavior. And see little blue lights. Just very deep, like deep blue night lights, like spirits of the night. Okay. Well, this is good. How much farther do you want to go? Well, we've got time. I'm relatively warmed up as long as I'm moving. I can't move fast. I can't believe this trail is so fucking narrow. Is this the same fucking trail? Am I on the right trail? Because it seems like a really fucking narrow trail to me. I can't remember it being this narrow. Oh, okay. It's opening up a little bit. This doesn't seem right to me. I feel like I'm going in the wrong direction. It's like, okay, this is a little better. It's weird. Everything at night is different. It's a completely different world. Okay, I think this might be normal. At least my feet can pick up the train a little bit. Wow. You can. Hello. Hello. is. And it's going to seem a lot longer, probably. It's a fairly long trail. I've been walking around here for years. A young lesbian showed it to me. And, it was difficult because she was basically finding out that she was a lesbian. And what I was doing was watching as much as I could. Didn't know her that well, but I spent enough time with her. Oh, shit. Oh, this is cool. I'm covered by trees right now. Hello? And so I was watching, and then things were changing between me and her family. I basically had been her friend first, but her mom kind of appropriated me, like a possession or a pet. And that kind of was okay for a while, and I did favors, a little bit of tutoring here and there, getting a high-pitched sound in my right ear. And then fear, the energy of fear. This woman ended up sexually assaulting me in public. That was kind of the last time I really, and then sexually harassing me near my home again. Right? And these types of people, I use strong language. You got to think that once things get to that point, they're pretty bad. So there was no father in the picture, never was. And the mother would actively dissuade her youngest one or any of them from talking about the father, even when they wanted to relate a story. Maybe one of the few or last stories they ever had about their father. I mean, it was like living in the Twilight Zone, right? This woman really clearly, as I experienced and observed, had eliminated men from her life in any respectful sense. So what her brain had to do, right, both morally and at the sex level, is eliminate men. She didn't become a lesbian, but she eliminated men. Right? Isn't that interesting? What else has she eliminated? Right? She wasn't able to get to know me, really. Right? I probably got closer to her than any man she's ever known, just as a family friend. Right? See, I wonder. That's someone living. Wow.